Have you ever had brain fog at work, wondering what the heck is going on? Or maybe you got cramps in your body, some kind of flare up, some kind of inflammation that you just couldn't pinpoint where it was coming from? Well, in this week's episode, I sit down with my guest, Heather Gray, also known as the Lyme Boss, to discuss this intersection of health and career. Heather shows us a powerful journey of overcoming chronic illness and advocating for women's health. From experiencing brain fog and chronic Lyme disease to exploring practical tips for managing stress at work, Heather offers valuable insights into the importance of prioritizing physical and mental well-being. Let's dive into this mind-body connection and discover actionable strategies for navigating health challenges in the workplace. Welcome to Her Career Studio. I'm your host and career coach, Lisa Virtue. Here we live by the mantra, thrive at work so you can thrive in life, because we know you are more than your day job. Each episode includes actionable tips and often mentor stories to not only boost your professional success, but also enhance your personal well-being. Join me as we explore ways to ensure your career uplifts your life. As you strive to achieve work-life harmony, head to hercareerstudio.com for free resources and coaching services to help support you during career transitions and challenges, such as when you are looking to find and land that next ideal job or promotion, or are leading a new team. We're here to support you. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button. And please hit the thumbs up or leave a 5-star review if you are finding the content useful. This helps us keep going in our mission to help women in their careers. Thank you so much for your support. Heather, it's so nice to have you here. I love that we connected around healthcare, really, and what our bodies tell us when it comes to our daily life and our workplace. So I would love to hear a little bit more about your journey and as it relates to your career, but also that intersection of health and career. So go ahead and introduce yourself to the audience and let us know how you got here.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me. This is going to be so much fun. Buckle up. So I usually start any talk with the beginning, right? I was basically born full of shit. Like how many people can relate, right, to being constipated at an early age? And that was kind of the beginning point of let's throw Band-Aids on symptoms. Let's give her thick, nasty oils and give her stool softeners. But nobody was trying to figure out why this 4-year-old was constipated. Hindsight's 2020. My uncle committed suicide that year. There was a lot of early childhood trauma. And that basically set up my health issues for the rest of my life. Being raised by addicts, alcoholics, a lot of stress in the home, really did make me the perfect host. So then between a standard American diet, a lot of early childhood trauma, I had a leaky gut, I had a leaky brain. By the time I was 13 and got bit by a tick, I was the perfect host, right? Not everybody that gets bit by a tick, gets Lyme disease, but there are certain people that are a little bit more susceptible to it, right? Depending on how well your immune system is doing, how well your gut is doing. So hindsight, so 2 years later after that, that's when I finally first developed my first kind of symptoms of Lyme. And I was through a suicide attempt of my own when I was 15. And again, doctors not trying to figure out or dig deeper. Like if the mental health community knew more about the connection of inflammation from viruses, bacteria, and things like that, instead of just looking at it as a neuro, oh my gosh, I can't believe I'm forgetting words lately because I'm having some sleep issues and back to being a little brain inflamed. Mm-hmm. So it's not just neurotransmitter deficiencies they're finding out with mental health issues. And if that mental health person knew that back when I was 15, what a difference what a different trajectory my life would have taken, right? So Band-Aids, antipsychotics, antidepressants, mood stabilizers, patted me on the head, sent me out the door. Long story short, it took me 27 years total before I finally got a Lyme disease diagnosis. The CDC itself just recognized a year ago as chronic Lyme disease, a real disease. So the disease that I've had for over 30 years finally just got recognized. I shit you not. I feel like if you want to really look up the word gaslighting in the dictionary, you'll see a picture of a Lyme patient, right? Basically my whole life I had been gaslit. I think women in general have a tendency to get gaslit by the health community a heck of a lot more. That's a whole nother topic, but that's kind of me in a nutshell. Well, so basically I went the traditional route in the beginning, which was horrible. They were throwing napalm at a body that hadn't been working properly for decades. Mm-hmm. I thought I was going to die. I was a hairstylist at the time. I didn't have a medical background, but when I heard Reed Davis, the founder of FDN, on a podcast speaking on how you have to, heal your gut and make sure your hormones are balanced and make sure your detox pathways are open, all the functional medicine ways, intuitively, I was like, that's it. That's what I need. And I wanted out of the hairstyling field to begin with. That was never my field. I was good at it and I liked it, but it didn't light me up. And so I was kind of looking for a way out and looking for, better health. So it was like twofold. So when you go through the program, you actually do a couple labs on yourself to, uncover, you become your first client. And that's what started me on the path in alternative health, and then also started me on my health journey.
Wow. Amazing. So one thing you said that, yes, is a completely different, not different, but additional topic is women's healthcare. But that is why we're here, right? We're talking primarily about women and how they can thrive, not just at work, but in life, and vice versa. And that intersection between work and life is so important because both affect each other. And as much as we want to separate and stop life when we go to work and stop work when we go to life, that's just not reality. So our health absolutely matters. So thank you so much for sharing. I cannot believe that Lyme disease was only a year ago that it was official. Wow.
And they're actually starting to backpedal on their wording on their website. So it's been very heartbreaking for Lyme people, because last year we were like, finally, validation, we're being seen. And then now they're kind of taking it back a little bit. And we're like,
wow. Yeah, I bet. That is insane.
I've never been a big fan of the CDC to begin with. Just, I'm just not a fan of things that are kind of, like the food pyramid and, traditional Western medicine. Like, it has its place. Like, if you get in a car accident, there's nobody that can put you back better than our Western med folks. But when it comes to prevention and chronic illness, like we are one of the sickest countries in the nation, and we spend the most money on healthcare. Like, wrap your brain around that, people.
Yep, absolutely. In my own personal health journey, how many times have I said, this just doesn't feel right, or I don't think we should do that, or I'm not sure about this. And poor doctors on one level, because they also have to go by a certain code. And they're like, well, here's what the ones that will actually explain that I really appreciate. Here's why I'm doing it this way, or why I can't do that, because the research, it's because of big pharma research and money, and where are they doing the research? So I'm right there with you that it's really an individual journey, and looking at the masses for certain things, for sure, it's black and white, but for so many of us,
especially with Lyme disease, they say that men will get a diagnosis 75% faster than women will. Yes. And that's part. Yeah.
Why am I shocked?
Yeah, no, it's absolutely horrific on how many more women are, because it's hormones, or it's we just had a baby, or it's, we get really dismissed and always lumped into these women, issues type of things that they don't have a tendency to dig deeper to work. For some reason, they will take a man more seriously, and he will get a diagnosis faster.
Fascinating. And then us women push our men to get to the doctor.
I know, right? We were just there this morning having our blood drawn, and I'm dragging him with me. I'm like, come on.
Exactly. Yes. But then when it comes to our own, it's like, oh yeah, I'll do that eventually. I'll get there eventually. Yeah. So let's talk a little bit about this brain fog, because this is one thing we were talking about that can happen. It happened to me personally. I was in a very toxic work environment, always very ambitious, working my way up, had a baby. All these things in life were changing, hormonally changing, but then I would get an illness. Like, I got my first bout of vertigo and I had a promotion and had a young child at home. And I was like, what the hell is this? I didn't drink any alcohol. You wake up and you're dizzy and you can't walk straight. And things like that just come out of the blue sometimes, where our body's like, nope, stop, get down. Something's wrong. And then there's just this kind of lingering. Those are like those big impactful moments of, I would need to check myself what's happening. But then there's other moments where we just kind of can't focus, or like you were saying earlier, we can't find the words. That definitely happens to me. Or I'm just all of a sudden tired in the afternoon when I used to be able to go. So what are some of the tips and things you have when you talk to women that are in this place? They're like, just these things are happening. What should they be looking for? What steps should they take?
Absolutely. It's one of my favorite expressions, is no matter how common a symptom may be, it is never normal. It is always your body's check engine light coming on saying, dummy, there's something going on in here. You need to figure it out. But all too often, we put everybody else's needs before our own. We've been dismissed for so long that we've forgotten to listen to our own intuition, right? That it's horrible what's happened to women. And that's part of the reason that I'm such an advocate. And I'm screaming, don't deal with so I'm a little tired in the afternoon. So is everybody else. I just need a cup of coffee. No, that's not normal. Or, oh, I'm just a little forgetful. I've got mommy brain, right? We even come up with cute little terms, mommy brain. No, that's not normal, right? Don't accept anything less than optimal performance as normal, because we are well-tuned, amazing biological machines, right? Absolutely. So when it comes to the brain fog, that's some of the scariest crap that I've had to deal with, when you can actually see some of the mistakes that you've made cognitively and go, oh crap.
Yes.
Right. And that's been my biggest area of work, because it's back when I started this journey, I was mid 30s, and to see your brain slipping in your mid 30s, and then nowadays it's actually a lot more common, and dementia and Alzheimer is getting diagnosed at a younger age, and they're actually saying that those processes start 5, 10, 15 years before you actually start to get symptoms. So like I said, those little things are wake-up calls, right? They're not something to be dismissed or grab something over the counter. If you accidentally put your keys in the refrigerator, or you can't remember your friend's phone number. Who can remember phone numbers anymore? That was a bad example. I'm like, who can remember phone numbers? But you know what I mean? Like, if you can't honestly remember what you had for dinner last night, chicken, Brussels sprouts, with a side of, it was a sweet potato. If stuff like that doesn't come to you, if you find yourself stuttering or missing words, or, making little simple mistakes in your checkbook, type of things, like stuff that's just not typically you. Those are all signs that something is slipping. And it can be anything from stress. So stress has many buckets, right? When we think of stress, we think of like work stress, like, my boss is a dick and I hate what I do, or, or I've got more responsibilities.
Yeah. We like to blame everyone else, for sure.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But stress can also be chemicals. I was a hairstylist for 15 years, and working in that toxic chemical environment was a stress on my body. It could be not getting enough sleep at night. It can be alcohol. It can be viruses or bacteria. It can be anything that causes a burden on the body, right? And it causes that inflammation. And we've heard a lot of people these days have talked about a leaky gut. Well, if you've got a leaky gut, there's such a big gut-brain connection. You've also got a leaky brain. Mm-hmm. And so a lot of food can cause this inflammation and can cause this brain fog. So really working with somebody who can dive deep and not dismiss you, and look at all the places of stress that you need to uncover to find out where your source of forgetfulness, brain cognition issues are coming from. Because it usually is a combination. It's usually not just one thing. It's like you've been cooking with aluminum and using aluminum deodorant for 15 years. And then you get that promotion, which is a little stressful, but that's the straw that tipped the I'm mixing metaphors. See,
yeah.
This type of thing, because I'm a perfect example right now. I just got diagnosed with sleep apnea. I found out I have a deviated septum, and I literally am like getting no oxygen in one nostril at night. So my oxygen,
that'll affect a lot. Wow.
84%. It's legit brain damage. So I'm actively working on that. But in the meanwhile, I still have to be here, right? I still have to.
You're showing up. Thank you.
I'm showing up, but yeah, I might just be forgetting. I love that one meme. They're like, people with brain fog have to get real creative with their words. Like, look, a vibrating midget bird, for hummingbird.
Yeah,
it is. I get real creative sometimes of like, But yeah, so just saying that you got to dig deeper, and it's usually a combination of multiple things. It's never usually just one thing, and to look at the whole picture, because unfortunately, if you're not looking at the whole picture, there's going to be pieces that you miss, and you're going to end up having to come back and kind of start all over again, or, it takes more time, more money. So I'm a big fan of someone who'll take a whole look and not just throw Band-Aids at symptoms.
Yeah, absolutely. 100% agree. And I've definitely been there where it was, I've got a gluten and dairy allergy and sensitivity, and so I'm going to avoid that. And then I felt great. And then there was more stress. And then I'm like, wait a minute, why my migraines are back, or
Oh,
my skin is not clear. What? Okay. That used to be because of those foods. Now so if you do it isolated, it's not sustainable. Absolutely. Yeah. I've been there. Okay. Awesome. So as far as when it comes to the stress part, when we're at work and women are thinking about, okay, how do I move through this day in a way that can help maybe just alleviate the symptoms, either before they can find a practitioner that they will be able to do this comprehensive work with, or even while they're working with them? Or do you have tips, tricks, things that
I was just going to say, I'm like, oh, you want tips and tricks? Yeah, absolutely. Some of this work is some of my favorite is work to do. One, because it's typically free.
Mhm.
Two, it's easy. And three, it doesn't take much time. But you have to start building these muscles when you're not in stress. So that way, when stress happens, you can remember to use them. So somatic experiencing work I like to do. I like to do one that's combined. I learned this from Dr. Amy Apigian. She makes the biology of trauma summit. Friggin' amazing. But where I learned this one's called a VU and a push away. And so first off, the VU is like a chant VU. It stimulates that vagus nerve, which is part of that fight or flight. It almost touches all areas in our body. And so if we're stuck in fight or flight all the time, our vagus nerve is dysregulated. And so the VU, chanting, ohms, humming, singing, gargling, all these things kind of help stimulate the vagus nerve. The push away also helps. A lot of us that have had chronic sicknesses also have a tendency, women especially, have a tendency to be a little on the empathic side. We have a tendency to take on other people's energy. And my bubble has a tendency sometimes just to be right here. So that way, everybody's bad behavior feels like a massive insult. Also could be an Aries thing.
Oh, yes. We're talking
I'm like, could also be an Aries thing now that I'm talking about it. My birthday's 2 days away. Anywho, the push away I love because it literally opens up space in my own energetic bubble and allows me to breathe again, right? Which then gives you the option. Do I need to respond to that Karen across the street who's, giving me side eye? Or, you know what I mean? It gives you a little bit more discernment. It gives you a little bit more reaction time. So you put them both together. So literally, join me, Miss Lisa.
Okay, so we're putting let's tell anyone that's not watching.
Yeah, put our hands up next to our shoulders, and we're going to act like we're going to push away a boulder. And I'm not kidding. I want you to really engage, push hard, and go slow. The slower, the better. And at the same time, we're going to take a deep breath in and out, go woo at the same time. So ready? In through the nose, out. Like you might see my arms shaking because that's how hard I'm engaging. And then you can take another deep breath and you can do that out to the side. You can do it at the top and then at the bottom.
Ooh, I'm going to add this for my candidates that are going up for interviews. For an interview.
There you go. Absolutely.
A really great power pose. Yeah.
Absolutely. I
love that.
And every single time I do that, like I immediately felt my nervous system go.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Your chest and your spine. Ooh.
I'm good. I'm calm. It's all good. Let's see. Ooh, another favorite one of mine is called a hug, a self hug. How many people, sadly, this is a man thing. Men have lack of physical touch more than women. Women are more tendency to be touchy feely. Men sadly aren't, and they are deeply lacking touch. And so sometimes I hate to say it, this really can help. Play with it. You're going to cross your arms over your chest and play with it. See if the right hand on the left chest, left shoulder feels better, or vice versa, to see which arm is on top, because one of them typically does. But this is part of learning how to tune in with your body. So this one feels better to me. And then once you got that spot, lay your head down on your shoulder and close your eyes.
So we're doing a personal hug, and then we're laying our head down on our shoulder and hand.
You might start to notice that your body naturally starts rocking back and forth. Just let it do that. Take a couple deep breaths here. But, I'm going to cut it short, which sucks because doesn't that feel yummy?
It does. It's like when I cuddle my daughter, it's like the same feeling for myself, right?
Exactly. So when we're in that stress, or if we're needing to calm down, the last one would be a shake. If you notice animals in the wild, they'll get into a kerfuffle and then they'll shake and then they go back to eating. or they'll go back to swimming, or they'll go back to do whatever they want because they don't keep that energy stuck in their body. So many people think it's a bad thing. They'll come up to me and they're like, look, I'm shaking. I'm like, good. Continue to let yourself shake. Don't stop that. But you can actually artificially manifest that. So say you get into a blow with hubby, right? Things are heated, you're angry. If you don't want to carry that around with you the rest of the night, as soon as you guys get done, shake it out and vigorously. Like, there's some good, Taylor Swift, shake it off. Like, shit you not. There's some.
It's true. Yeah.
There's some wisdom there with the tape.
It's wisdom.
So, yeah.
I love it.
Those are kind of just 3 little easy things that you can do. But like I said, like practicing the VU and the push away and like the self hug and getting into a habit of doing that multiple times a day. I have my folks do that usually 3 times a day before they eat, because if we can get you into rest and digest, right, and out of fight or flight, so many people, especially women, are having so many issues with their digestion. One, because they're not taking the time to mindfully eat.
Yeah.
They're eating on the run. They're eating and working in front of their computer. Eating is a skill. Digestion is a skill. Same thing with sleep. And we've kind of hijacked it and thought that we could somehow get away with these things that aren't really natural, but we can't. We really can't. You need to slow down. Our eyes need to be engaged with our food because that's where our saliva starts kicking in. And also it then gets our digestive acids going. There's a sequence that needs to happen. And when you're sitting in front of a computer and trying to eat, or driving, like you're missing things. And then your gut's like, wait, I wasn't ready for food.
Yeah.
Right.
That's a very good point. So from a practical standpoint, I think one thing to the audience to think about is when to do this, where to do it. I love the idea of when you go to the bathroom stall, instead of checking your social media at work because you're on a break and you're in the bathroom and you feel like you can, give yourself a hug, push the boulder, breathe. Yeah. So put down that device and think about your body, the body-mind connection. I wholeheartedly agree with you. Amazing. Awesome. Okay. So as we wrap up, anything else that has come up for you, Heather, today that you want to make sure the listeners hear?
No, I cover it basically when I say, no matter how common a symptom may be, it is never normal. Stop reaching for over-the-counter stuff. Stop putting yourself on the back burner. And it's amazing when we start feeling, there's so many cliches, but they only become cliches because they work, because it's true. You got to start putting your own mask on first. You can't pour from an empty cup. Like all these things that we've been taught to do as women, especially, kids come first, work comes first, everything else comes first. Start putting yourself first. And it's amazing how much better everything else in your life flows. Like, trust me, your family will thank you. Your coworkers will thank you. Everything gets exponentially better when this is your life, right? Put yourself first.
Yep. Love it. All right. Amazing. So Heather, how can people get a hold of you?
Everywhere, the Lyme Boss, and that's LYME, like Lyme disease, not like we're making margaritas. So make sure to go check that out. Right. I've got a podcast as well. I've got some of the top health experts on there. So whether it's from headaches to weight gain to psychedelics, check that out. Or I've got a free cooking series on my website, because so many people, when I say you need to start cooking, and they look at me like a deer in the headlights, like I teach you 20 minutes or less how to make these healthy, delicious, amazing meals that your body and your mind are going to love.
Mm-hmm. Love it. LymeBoss.com. Thank you so much for being here. I really appreciate your energy, and the fact that you illustrated brain fog was beautiful and that everything ties back to our physical health, really, and that brain gut connection, brain mind connection, or mind body connection. That's what I was trying to say.
It's contagious.
Yeah. Awesome. So thank you so much. And we'll find you at LymeBoss.com.
Sounds great. Thank you.